What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Tony Reads. Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a few books that I have read so far in March. I'm going to be saving the best and my favorite book for last. So let me get started with the other two first. Okay, so the first book I want to talk to you guys about is called Don't Let Her Stay by Nicola Sanders. This one actually was recommended to me maybe by more than one person. If not this book, this author was. This book I really actually enjoyed. It was very entertaining. It was an easy read. It wasn't that many pages, like maybe a little over 300 pages, which is, right up my alley. And so what this book is about is, and you guys, when I'm explaining these books and giving my review, I might have the names mixed up. I'm just a person that's not good at names, not even in real life, not in books, not in movies or anything. So if I say I'm wrong, just please forgive me. But so it takes place actually in London or around the London area. And there's a woman named Joanne and her husband, Richard. And then they have a baby that's like 3 or 6 months old named Evie or Evie. I don't know how to pronounce it. They're rich, of course, like in many of the books that I read. They live in a big house, kind of out. It's not like in the actual city. It's kind of like far out. So Joanne is Richard's second wife. And he has a daughter who is like 20 years old from his first wife. And so his 20-year-old daughter really didn't want him to get remarried because her mom, who was his ex-wife, actually died many years ago, like when Chloe was 11 years old. And so she didn't want her dad to get remarried, but he did anyway. And so she didn't speak to him, blah, blah, blah. So then all of a sudden, he hasn't heard for whatever. They receive a letter from Chloe in the mail saying, hey, I want to come stay with you guys for a little while. Whatever. Okay. She comes. She's never met Joanne, the wife. And the minute she comes, like seriously, all this drama starts happening. She starts doing little things. Clearly, she treats her dad, Richard, great. But clearly she does not look like Joanne, which is not any kind of surprise. So she starts doing things like just little manipulative things, like make Joanne seem like she forgets stuff that's really important, makes her look stupid, tries to make Joanne and Richard, pit against each other, and just kind of little things like that. So this book was like I said, it's a really easy, light read. It was kind of like a Lifetime movie-ish kind of book. And I know I bring up Lifetime movies a lot, and it's not like I don't watch them. I do watch them actually, but they're really light. Like, it's not like, I don't believe you're not going to cry from reading this book. You're not going to, get over excited about anything. You're not going to be scared. There's nothing scary in this book. It's just like a really light read with some really good drama in it. So it just goes and all this stuff starts happening. There's they also have like a cleaning lady or whatever, and her and the daughter Chloe, they befriend each other and just be doing little stuff or whatever. It's just, like I said, all kinds of little drama just to make life miserable for Joanne, basically. And so there is a plot twist, of course, at the end. I would not be saying anything good about this book. And so it has you you don't really, throughout this whole story, as these little things are going on, you still don't know, who's really the bad person. Is it Joanne? Is it the husband? Is it the daughter? Maybe they had a gardener or groundskeeper too. Maybe it was him. Maybe it's the cleaning lady. You kind of just don't know. And so literally towards the end of the book, I'll say like the last couple of chapters or whatever, that's when like the real action starts happening, where you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And, they're like, people in the book are like hiding, and it's getting like that deep and stuff. So then all the drama breaks loose in the very end. And I will tell you, till the very last sentence in this book, there's little twist. So you might, even towards the end when you're reading and all these things are going on, you might think you have it, but there's like a little twist, like literally kind of in the last sentence or the last two sentences or whatever. So I felt that was a really good way to end the book. Because for some people, this might be like too light and like, okay, yeah, the usual drama or whatever. But I actually feel like the plot twist at the end made the book worthwhile reading. Now, I won't say that like there's a whole bunch of murders or anything like that. So if you're looking for that in some kind of thriller book or whatever, this is not it. It's just more like drama. So if you like drama, I highly recommend this book. Don't Let Her Stay by Nicholas Sanders. And based on this book, I probably will be reading more from this same author. So the next book I want to talk about was one that was highly recommended by people in my life. I've seen people give it really good ratings, like on Amazon, Goodreads and stuff. Some of you all recommended it. My sister, she never read it, but she even recommended it to me. And it's just supposed to be this really great, outstanding, wonderful book. And that is The Silent Patient by Alex, I messed his last name up, Michaelides or something like that, I think it's called. This book is a New York Times bestseller. It's supposed to be like all that. And so I told you guys in another video that I could not wait to read this book. So excited and everything. So what this book is about is a lady named Alicia who's married to a husband. I believe his name is Richard. It's not like everybody's name is Richard. I could be wrong with that. No, his name wasn't Richard. His name was Gabriel. And one night, so how it kind of starts or whatever, or what the story is that one night Alicia's at home, and one night her husband Gabriel comes home from work late, and she shoots him 5 times in the face, and he dies. And ever since that moment, she does not speak anymore. So the whole not speaking thing is a very familiar theme of books. Now, I knew that buying this book, so I can't like say, oh, it's horrible because she couldn't speak, and that's the same old thing they have in a whole bunch of other books that I've read. So I'm okay with that. So then Alicia's kind of like the main character, but there's also another main character, and that's a man named Theo, and he's a psychotherapist. So Alicia, she didn't get put in prison for the murders, but clearly they thought she was crazy or whatever, so they put her in a psycho hospital called the Grove or something like that. So this story has like been all around the news and everything, but it happened years ago, but it was like all, people know about it and everything. People have heard about it. And so this psychotherapist named Theo, he's like really intrigued by the story, and he really wants to dig deeper into it and find out what really happened, get in Alicia's mind, and also make Alicia start talking again. So that's kind of like what the whole story is kind of like based on. So Theo applies for a job at this hospital, and he, once he gets hired and everything, he's like, I want to be her therapist. He wants to work with her. And so he starts working with her and everything, of course, trying to make her talk and all this stuff. It's not working. Several of the other therapists have already tried and it didn't work or whatever, just things. This story actually takes place mainly inside this hospital. And I'm going to pause right here before I even finish telling the rest of the story. I'm going to tell you guys up front, I did not like this book. It was probably one of the most boring, unentertaining books that I've ever read, if not the worst book I ever read. And I feel really, although everybody likes different things, and I've heard of books, some people said were so great, or some people recommended it and everything, and then I'll be the one that doesn't like it, and I'm perfectly okay with that because none of us like all the same things. But this one was so highly recommended. I thought like I literally could not go wrong. And I was a little bit hesitant, like I said, because that theme of a woman not being able to talk, I've read that several times before. I'm like, hey, this is kind of getting old to me. But I was like, nope, everybody says this is a great book. So I got this book. So like I said, Theo, the therapist, was unsuccessful or whatever. And the book just keeps going, it's drama, him trying this, him trying that. Alicia is like an artist or whatever. And so he tries to get her to paint and everything. I'm just noticing it's like, in a lot of books, they can't talk, but they can paint. They can't talk, but they can type on a typewriter. They can't talk, but they have a diary. And that's how you find out all this stuff. And it just so happened, this one, she also had a diary too. And so I was like, all this stuff just sounds familiar, like literally the same old stories that I read already. But I'm like, everybody says this book is so great. There's got to be this major ending, this major plot twist. So it goes on and on and on, and it kind of digs into Theo's private life or whatever. He's married to a lady named Kathy. She's cheating on him. He's actually like following her and spying on her with the guys she's cheating with, and all this stuff is going on and everything. And inside the psychotic or psychiatric hospital, there's fights and everything, and so-and-so don't like so-and-so against Theo and some of the other therapists. They don't like each other. They got beef and all this kind of stuff. And it's just drama. There's at the gallery where Alicia used to work, or she used to work with the man at this gallery. He's somehow pulled into a story, trying to make him relevant, but to me, it really wasn't all that relevant or whatever. And so the story just drags and drags and drags and drags and drags. Now, I will tell you again, like I mentioned in the other story, if you're looking for a thriller where several people are murdered, that's not going to happen in this book. And it's not even about that. If you're looking for something action-packed, and there's just something like in every chapter, or at least every other chapter, or at least every 2 chapters, there's not going to be action. It's just a lot of talking. And if you're the type that like stories where there's a therapist trying to get somebody to talk, you'll love this book, because that's pretty much where most of the time is spent. And it just kind of goes into the lives and tries to build characters for people, whatever. But the story is just really like, I was just like, just yawning the whole time. So finally, like I said, I thought, like, at the end, since this book is supposed to be so great, something like really dramatic, this major, action or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, at the end. And so there was a plot twist at the end. But I mean, it was just kind of like, wah, wah, wah. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was so wrong. Or it's that person. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened, or anything like that. It was just kind of a slow moving plot twist, and it's like, okay, yeah, I could have guessed that. I didn't guess it, which was one good thing about it, but it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so I was, like I said, I was really disappointed in this book. I can't say it was horribly written. It just was super boring to me. It was very slow. But if you're the type that likes to get in the mind, of a patient, a therapy patient or something like that, or you like stories inside a psychiatric hospital that take place, 80% of the book is inside that hospital, or about a patient and a therapist and their dialogue or whatever their communication is. If you're into that, this is probably the book for you, and you don't mind about any action, or you don't want several plot twists, you only need one, or whatever the case may be. If you're into that, then this book might be the book for you. But for me, it just didn't do it. It's probably the worst book, like I said, like I ever read. I believe it is the worst book. And so I originally said The X by Freida McFadden was the worst book. It wasn't as boring as this one. This one was way more boring. So no. And based off of this book, like I don't really like the author's style of writing. It just was just way too slow paced for me. I don't think I could do it again. I don't DNF books. I haven't yet. I don't know if I ever will. If I spend money on something, I want to finish it at least and give it the benefit of the doubt. That maybe, because there are books where it doesn't get good till like more towards the end. I prefer it to be action packed, like in the beginning, though, to keep me motivated to read it. But yeah, I didn't DNF it. I don't regret not DNFing or anything like that. I want to finish it through so I can give a full review or a full reasoning behind why I didn't like it. So yeah, that's my review for The Silent Patient. Hey, it might be for you. It definitely was not for me. Okay, so last but definitely not least, like I said, I'm saving the best for last. This could possibly be the best book I ever read, and it was so good it could hold that #1 spot for a long time. And that is All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. I couldn't wait to read this one because, again, like The Silent Patient, this one was highly recommended. This one actually was recommended, I will say, more than The Silent Patient. Also, this is my very first book by a Black author, like, ever. And so I was really excited about that. All I hear is very good things about S.A. Cosby, and so I'm looking forward to reading some of his other stories. This book was like about close to 330-ish pages. But as you can see, there's like a lot of words on the pages, so it was like a little bit bigger than what I really like and what I'm used to, but I was okay with that. This book, I will say, started off very fast. And I mean, like, literally, like, I'll say maybe the first 1 or 2 chapters, they're trying to build like 2 of the main characters, which Titus Crown, I believe this is his last name, he's the sheriff and he's the main character. But there's things sitting around like his dad, Albert. He has a brother named Marquise and everything. They were kind of like building that up. But literally, like, in the first couple of chapters, Titus, as the sheriff, gets a call to go down to such and such high school or whatever because there's an active shooter. And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm like just excited about that. And one of the reasons why I was excited about that, because an active shooter has never been any kind of theme in any book that I've read before. And so that I was like really excited to see how that was going to play into the rest of the story. And so this book had like all kinds of stuff in it. It wasn't just like the drama of a wife that didn't talk and the maid is trying to get her to talk and tell her story, or a woman who's abused, or her daughter comes back to live with a family and wreaks havoc on them, or anything, or baby is kidnapped, or anything like that. Nothing that I've read. And so it had, like I said, the active shooter. There's a serial killer. There's all kinds of racism, Confederate flags, right-wing groups, and that sort of thing. There's these religious groups or whatever, or churches that do this corrupt stuff. So church corruption. Another thing that's different is like the location. And so this was like based in Virginia. And it's like this little, it's called Sharon County. That's where it takes place. It's like super country and very racist. And it's like openly, I'll say it's really openly racist, because like racism is like everywhere. But very openly racist, and just all kinds of themes that I just haven't read in any of the books that I've read yet. And so it just was like really something new, and it really just caught my interest right away. And everything that I've named, all these themes, the racism, the serial killer, the active shooter, and all that, all ties together in the story. This story is literally action-packed, literally till the end when it's actually revealed. You don't know who's guilty of what, and you don't really know who the bad person is. You don't know if it's another one, a cop, or somebody at the school, or whatever. It could be all kinds of people. There's also a theme part where there's Titus, the main character, has this girlfriend or whatever. There's also an ex-girlfriend. So there's like that kind of drama and stuff. And I just feel that S.A. Cosby just did a really good job building the characters. In this book, literally, I almost felt like I was there. Everything he described, I could really visualize it and imagine it. And then plus with a lot of the characters, if not most of them, being like black, and me being black, I could actually really relate to them. They talked very different than people in all the other books I read. Like a lot of the books I read take place in London, very different. They say different kinds of words than what we use. A lot of the books I've read take place in New York, or also in the like Boston area. And so this was really different. Like I said, it was in Virginia, South, and so it was just like crazy. I'm like, this is totally different. It was very hard for me to put this book down. I had to put it down when I had to put it down because I had to do some work or something like that. But if I sat there and read it, I probably could have finished it in a day. I don't see how the way he writes S.A. Cosby, I don't see how he could go wrong. I'm definitely going to read some of his other books. I highly recommend him. I highly recommend All the Sinners Bleed. It was good. Excellent up until the end. I'll say probably even with Freida McFadden books, they're great. Don't get me wrong. Still, I love Big Freida, but S.A. Cosby is very different from her. This was like a refreshing difference than what I'm usually used to. Freida McFadden's a whole different type of stories, which I still love, but this S.A. Cosby is very, very, very different. His is also more, there was nothing quirky or anything about his story. I didn't laugh. I don't think I laughed not one time. Sometimes in even the other thrillers, when it's supposed to be serious, I'll kind of like giggle or something's like funny to me. There was nothing comical at all in this story. This was much, much deeper. You may get very angry at points during the story, and this is something that had never happened. I was sitting in my car waiting for my sister to come from somewhere or whatever, and I was reading my book because I really wanted to finish it. It was really exciting, and literally at one point in the book, this has never happened. I read something, I was like, I actually jumped and practically threw the book, and I have never done that. I've never been that excited or shocked or surprised in any book that I ever read. So it's just like, it really, I don't know if you guys can tell my personality. It's really hard to get me excited about stuff, so that excited where I actually throw something or jump or make a noise. And I did that with this book. That's how good it was. But anyway, so yeah, All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby, one of my favorite books. I'll put it up there with like I always say, The Coworker by Freida McFadden is my favorite book. I really just think I love that book because it's the first book I read. But this is definitely up there with that. And it's a different kind of book. So it's a number one on its own kind of level. Definitely 5 stars for sure. I said I wasn't going to really into that rating thing, but I just have to say it's 5 stars. Definitely. I definitely recommend it. Thanks to you all who recommended S.A. Cosby to me and recommended this book. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for now. I'm reading my first book on my Kindle that I'm so excited about. I'm reading Ward D by Freida McFadden. After reading All the Sinners Bleed, it was real deep and real serious. I wanted something like more Freida McFadden style, a light, easy read. And so that's why I wanted to read. Plus, I just wanted to use my Kindle. So that's why I wanted to read that one. So I'm reading that one right now. I haven't gotten far enough to even tell you guys anything about it, but I will be, of course, doing a review later on. But anyway, if you have read any of the books that I mentioned, I want to hear comments about what you thought. In particular, I really want to hear about what you thought about The Silent Patient. Maybe I missed something or whatever, or it's just not my cup of tea. But, and if you have, as usual, I am still always taking recommendations for thriller books. I do like crime thrillers too, or just regular drama like thrillers or whatever. And if it's even like slash mystery or slash kind of sort of horror, I would accept that too, as long as it has the whole thriller aspect to it. But yeah, give me more recommendations on books and authors. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe and click on notifications. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. So yeah, that's it for now, and I will see you in the next video.